My boyfriend said he will never marry me. How do I proceed? For context, I, female 35, have been with my boyfriend, male 40, for almost 2 years now. Throughout our relationship, he has only been the most attentive, loving, and thoughtful partner. We share house chores, he would buy me little gifts every now and then, he would call me every day while I'm on my way home from work, he always talks about me with his mates, etc. Like, I can't even find a single irritable thing about this guy. Well, except he won't marry me because he promised his late wife that she will be his only wife. She passed away 6 years ago from illness, and he was pretty messed up for 3.5 years. After lots of therapy and working on himself, he gradually opened up, and we met through a board game group. He never really spoke about her until we became serious. According to him, she was the one that made him believe in true love and the idea of a soulmate. He also claims that he has moved on, but to honor her memory and promise to her, he will never have a second wife. After we discussed this, he's never mentioned her again. It's our 2nd anniversary soon, and I'm just thinking about what I want in my life. I'd really like to get married. I want someone to propose to me, and I want a groom with tears in his eyes as he sees me walking down the aisle. I love this man with all my heart, and he has given me everything that I could ever want in a husband, except he won't be my husband. I honestly don't know what to do. I know it's a common thing to be partners in all but paper, but I guess I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I feel like maybe deep down inside of him, I'm still second to her. How do I navigate this? In the comments, LollipopFiend123 says, "If you want marriage, then unfortunately you're not compatible." Agree. Be honest with yourself and your partner. Have the difficult conversation. You'll either learn to grow together or make the necessary decisions with all information possible. Floppy Bunny says, "You want to get married, he doesn't. Unfortunately, that makes the two of you incompatible, which means you break up. He isn't going to give you what you need." I would be afraid of constantly living in his deceased wife's shadow. If he's that committed to not marrying because of her, you're not going to find long-term happiness with him. If it is the real reason, he is still grieving her and is not emotionally available. It's not just the fact that for him, marriage is off the table, it's more him telling you about his true love and soulmate, and that he will not get married because he promised her. Do what is best for you now. I'd personally respect his choice, but would not be committed to this relationship. I would treat him well, but as a temporary partner, and wouldn't feel obligated to try to save the relationship, to work on the differences, to suppress my feelings to someone else, to refuse an awesome job opportunity in another city, etc. Tinkerbell Rock'n'Rolls replies, "Your answer makes a lot of sense, except one thing. At 35, she doesn't have time for a temporary partner. If she wants to have biological children, she needs to exit this mess yesterday so that she can find her husband and get to it." And Rich Ad says, "Oh babe, I'm sorry. This is heartbreaking. I'm sad he lost his wife, whom he clearly loved dearly. I'm sad for you, as it sounds like you'll always be in her shadow instead of the one who brought him back into the light. I'm sad that you're going to have to break your own heart to stay true to your worth. And I'm sad that he's going to be too late when he realizes he lost not one, but 2 women who loved him." It's a sad situation all around, but the reality is that many situations are sad and there's no easy answers. I'm on the same bandwagon train of thought, I guess, that a lot of other people are, that he will forever be putting you second because he's made a promise to her and he feels like he's always going to keep it. On the balance of probabilities, to me, that's the most likely thing to happen. It's been 6 years, and he's saying this to you now. It's very, very unlikely he's ever going to let that go. If she's his soulmate, then you never will be. Stop wasting your time. It's time to move on. If you want biological kids, you gotta go find someone else. It's not easy, and it's never going to be easy. But if there's things that you want that he's holding you back from, you have to be the one to leave. And now, on to the update. So a lot of people shared their view with me in the previous post, so I thought of sharing an update. As I expected, he is adamant in his stance. He was also a bit upset that I made him bring up the topic of his late wife, as he doesn't like talking about her. I think he just doesn't like remembering that she's dead. But he also understood that I could have doubts about his commitment and where I stand in his life. I'm not quoting him exactly, but he said something like this: "My words have meaning, and because of this, you know that when I make a promise, I mean it. I said that I will stay with you forever, so I will stay with you forever. If you want a ring, I will give you a ring. If you want to wear a pretty dress, we can get you a pretty dress. But please, don't make me go against my word, because if I do, nothing I say will mean anything anymore. I could promise to love you, and maybe stop loving you one day, and you cannot hold it against me. Mary was my first love after a string of broken relationships. I love the way I love because I learnt it from her. I am who I am because of what I have experienced before. Please understand that sort of impact in my life. I have never compared you to her. I have never actively brought her up in our conversations. I don't even keep mementos of her in our home. I know he keeps them in the bank, out of respect for you. So why do you question my commitment towards you?" I honestly don't know how to respond at the end of that. My mind went completely blank, and I felt like an idiot. I bawled my eyes out, and he just comforted me. We live in a country where de facto partners have the same legal rights as a married couple, so I wasn't worried about those issues. I guess I just really needed to hear him affirm his feelings towards me. Those who commented that I merely want a wedding could be right as well. Maybe what I wanted was just the grandiosity of a wedding, so that's something that I have to think about. And also, I won't lie that I was extremely jealous of his late wife. Resentment for her is definitely something that I should also think about. Someone said couples therapy, but I think the one that actually needs therapy is me. But yeah, that's about it. I'm probably staying because I know he loves me and I do love him. Lots of introspection for myself from here on out. Thank you everyone for your kind comments and suggestions. I hope you have a lovely day. In the comments, Timely Egg Tart says, "I swear all the widow relationship posts in Reddit sound like a nightmare." Don't they? But then if people say they're not up for a widow relationship, people act like they're putting kittens in a wood chipper. That made me laugh so hard. You're right, it is a total mess. I'm a widow and my boyfriend is a widow. Only a widower can understand what my life is now. That said, this dude won't get married because he made a promise to his dead wife. That's wild. If she didn't want him to marry again, I'm pretty sure she would not love that he's banging OP. People are weird. If you date the widowed, you have to be okay with accepting that the dead person likely left on good terms, and you need to respect that they existed, and the kids, if any, need you to respect their dead parent. That's a lot, and it takes a certain kind of person, but there are crazy and weird widows just like there are bizarre people / don't put up with their crap just because they are widowed. Just toss that kitten in the wood chipper and call it a day. Oh my god. Why does that have to be the phrase to relate it to? What the hell? 92PJs says, "I feel like if marriage is what you want, you should end this relationship sooner than later. You said you're staying, but I feel like you can't easily get rid of a desire to get married. It could nag you for a long time, and your resentment will grow." Exactly. And there is nothing wrong with wanting to get married. Don't let your boyfriend make you think so just because he doesn't want to. You chose a broken pot and it doesn't want to hold any water. Can you accept it for what it is? If you really need water, then you need to let that pot go very gently. Nope. I did this once too. And there is nothing more soul-crushing than watching someone you love neglect your needs for someone who isn't around to care. Promises like that aren't made for late exes, they are made for themselves. The late ex is not doing it to you, he is doing it to you. And he's still making you suffer because someone unfortunately passed. Even if you try to make this work, you're going to get tired of being neglected when you're the one who is there. You are going to eventually feel like that, even though you've been around him longer than their relationship. If you stick around that long, then you're still not going to be enough for him to move on into the next chapter of life with. And even then, if somehow you're convinced to be okay with this, you get to watch later in life, when it's his turn to go, and you hope to be at his bedside to hold his hand through it, you get to be locked out of that room and forced to wait in the waiting room with no idea what is going on because no one will answer any of your questions, and all you can do is wait. He's not just condemning you to be viewed as essentially less valuable, but he's also condemning you to a fate of loneliness and loss greater than what he has experienced, all because he fails to understand that marrying someone and moving forward in life with someone is not a replacement for a previous person, but an entirely different experience that is new and is not the same. This is not okay. It's not fair to you, and from my own experience, I feel very strongly that you're emotionally being taken advantage of, and you're in a position to be gaslit and blamed however you feel about this. You get tired of it, and then you're too pushy, but if he gives you what you want, then it's your fault he decides to lie and cheat. Get mad at him for wasting your time, and he gets to claim that he's always been the nice guy and told you how it is. And that ambiguously threatening, if you make me into a dishonorable person, no good to my word, if you do this to me. Fucking man up, dude, and stop making someone accountable for your own choices. Yes, in adult life sometimes people make promises they realize they can't keep. Yes, that is life. I promised to never break up with my high school boyfriend. Surprise, I'm 40 and I'm not with my high school boyfriend. But that doesn't mean that my whole life is a lie. I'm sorry you're going through this, OP. I really feel for you. And this thread in particular triggers me because I went through 4 years of this in a relationship that lasted longer and had more life events than what the dude with his late ex did. But for all the times I held him when he cried, all the sacrifices I gave, all the love that I poured into it, and all the times that I put his needs first, from taking care of his senile dementia mother who wouldn't stop threatening me, to risking myself pulling his dog out of a fire, always having his back, it was never enough to finally accept building a legitimate future and all the privileges that come with it. You don't get the house shopping. You don't get to be in the know during emergencies. You don't get the, oh, it's so nice to meet his wife when he starts a new job. You get, if you were such a great girlfriend, then why doesn't he marry you? And the, nope, we're not going to discuss procedures and costs with you because you're just a girlfriend. And if you stick around long haul until end of life, either it's you can't take time off work to mourn his passing because bereavement leave is for family only, and you also need to find a new place to live because that's his house and his family decided to run the eviction process on you. So now you're homeless, mourning, still have to go to work, and you might be lucky to go to the funeral, but you're not going to be able to keep anything to remember him because his family wants it. I don't mean to sound like I'm projecting, but please, please don't do this to yourself. You're going to end up with a complex if you stick around where she has cock-blocked your entire life despite the fact that you're the one there to do the heavy lifting. Sometimes jealousy is not supposed to be ignored. So please move on. Don't do 4 years like I did. It's been a while now, but I now have to do therapy to be able to function in the relationship that actually is living the dream for me. I hope OP sees that. I really hope OP does. At the end of the day, it is their choice to stick out this relationship if that is what they want. But I do believe that resentment will grow, and I don't think they will get any of the benefits of being family like this commenter has said. I think OP stands to lose so much and lose in so many areas of their life if they stick out this relationship. But again, it is always going to be their choice. I hope we get another update in the future that tells us what OP has decided to do, but as it stands right now, it is what it is. Good luck, OP. Please read the comments. Please take to heart the valid criticisms and advice that people have given you and the stories that they have shared. And thank you, OP, for sharing your story with us. I very much appreciate that. Am I the asshole here for breaking up with my boyfriend because he lost my dog? Me, 24 female, and my boyfriend, 24 male, have been together for almost 4 years. We get along okay for the most part. Things like him losing something of mine have happened, but never to this level. I've had a dog, Milo, 12 female, for her whole life. We grew up together, and it's really hard for her to get to trust other people. She's always been an anxious girl, but she's the light of my life and was always by my side, even on my worst days. 3 years ago, I introduced my boyfriend to my family, which is just my mum and Milo. He and my mum got along okay, but he didn't acknowledge Milo in any way, which is fine. I didn't expect him to be all over her, considering she does not like that, but I still found it pretty strange because he said he absolutely loved dogs, and to be honest, I believed that because he would always pet dogs when we were outside. Any interaction for the past 3 years with her was limited, but Milo warmed up to him. She would greet him, go to him for pets, which is something he gave, and accepted him on our daily walks. 1.5 years ago, Milo got sick. She had a tooth infection, which was pretty bad. Her whole right eye was swollen shut. I asked my boyfriend to take us to the vet because I don't have a car. The vet took care of the infection, gave me some antibiotics to give her every day, and instructions to clean the wound that was left after the vet cleaned the pus. For a couple of weeks, I didn't hang out that much with my boyfriend. I took care of Milo because she was not feeling great. One thing that stood out to me was the fact that he seemed pretty pissed every time I brought her up, talking about her progress. Looking back, that should have risen some red flags, but I guess I brushed it off. Now that I've given you that short version of the past, this is what's happening in the present. So I planned with my mum to go on a short vacation to visit my grandparents. I was talking to my boyfriend about this trip, and I told him who would take care of Milo, my best friend Alex, 23 male. My boyfriend then offered to take care of her. He was mad that I didn't come to him first, stating that he loves Milo and wants to go on walks with her. I reluctantly agreed, considering this love for her was out of the blue. The trip was supposed to last 3 days, and on day 2, I was talking to my boyfriend on the phone, and he casually says that Milo really likes to stay outside. And for me, this felt off, and I asked him what he meant. He left my sweet girl outside for hours at a time, alone, and would check up on her hourly. Mind you, I live in an apartment and I don't have a backyard. Me and my mum left as soon as I told her, and we arrived back home at around 9 p.m. And since then, I blocked my boyfriend on everything and have been searching for my girl. I've printed posters, went out every day for hours at a time, and put her on Facebook groups around my area. Now he and his friend group say that I'm an asshole because I've put my dog above my boyfriend in all 4 years of our relationship. I know for a fact this is not true, but I don't have anyone else to ask besides people that are really close to me and would be biased. In the comments, Velvety Heart says, "Not the asshole. Your boyfriend's negligence led to your dog's disappearance, and his lack of care for Milo over the years clearly shows where his priorities lie. Breaking up was justified. Keep searching for Milo. Involve local shelters, vets, and social media for broader reach." Usual Canary says, "He got rid of his competition. It's that simple. That's why he suddenly loved her out of the blue. It was his opportunity to get rid of the attention that he wanted from you. Not the asshole, and good riddance. What a prick." This was my immediate thoughts after the backstory. He didn't like that OP was giving more attention to her dog when the dog got sick. The ex-boyfriend seized an opportunity to get rid of the dog. I suspect he did something more nefarious than simply leaving the dog outside all day. OP, you are absolutely choosing your dog over this man, and rightfully so. There's really no question where your priorities should be, and you've put your priority in the right place. Your dog has been in your life 3 times longer than you were with this man. Your dog is dependent on you, and you have a responsibility to be your dog's caregiver. Your ex is not your dependent, and you don't have the same responsibility for him as you do for your dog. Yeah, I would escalate this as much as possible, and find your dog as soon as possible, and when you do, take him to the police and charge him for whatever you can get him on the hook for. He's already admitted that he left the dog outside. You can get him for that. He deserves whatever repercussions you can send his way, because that is a disgusting thing that he has done. That dog is as much family as anyone else in your family is. It's completely unacceptable. He just lost, quote unquote, your family member. Nah. I'd lose my shit. I would absolutely go psycho on him, and I'd do whatever I can to bring the law down as hard as possible on this guy, not the asshole OP. Breaking up with him is the least of his worries. And now, onto the update 1 day later. For the people that wanted to see my girl, here is a picture of her. Hi, a lot of people asked me for an update. I should have waited until I got some rest, but you were all so helpful, and you deserve to know how this ended. So my ex came today to get his stuff, and some of you might be happy for what you're about to read, but he didn't get a single thing back. When he saw me, he started begging me to forgive him, and thanks to you again, I agreed to forgive him if he told me the truth. He just looked me straight in the face and said, "If I'm gonna be honest, you won't forgive me." My heart broke all over again, thinking about the worst of things. When he saw me cry, he told me that I should get over it because she was already old. But if I really wanted her back, I should get back with him, and when he trusts me that I really forgave him, I could see her again. I was exhausted, hopeless, and angered, and even though I wanted my girl back, I couldn't look at him, let alone be with him however long he thought that it would take me to forgive him. So he left, not telling me a single thing about Milo. I got a call some hours later, and on the other end was a lady who found Milo on the other side of the road. She told me she'd wait for me to come, because when she wanted me to pick her up, she seemed to be in pain. When I got there and saw her laying there, all of my emotions flooded over me. My sweet baby, even though she looked so different, was alive. She is now staying overnight at the vet. She has 2 broken ribs and is dehydrated. If everything goes well, she will be home soon. I appreciate each and every one of you that took time to guide me in this nightmare. Thank you again, and I will be pressing charges. In the comments, Klutzybook says, "I'm so glad that Milo was okay. I had a feeling he did something horrible to her. This man is dangerous and has shown you who he is. Please be safe and never let him back into your life. This is massive stalker/sociopathic behavior." Sneaky Snail says, "Agree. I feel like he kicked her and broke her ribs, and then she went away to hide. I don't think a car hit would have caused only broken ribs. That ex is a piece of shit and deserves nothing in life. OP, good luck and best wishes to you and Miss Milo." And OP says, "The vet doesn't think she was hit by a car either. It will be on her file. Thank you." And Sixicus the Sixth says, "You need to file a police report for your country's equivalent of animal cruelty, or, barring that, property damage against the ex. Make him cover Milo's medical expenses." On top of all of that, if she wasn't recording him when he said that, she's alive and you can see her when I trust you again, oof. That would have been amazing evidence to bring to the cops. That right there is a confession. That is a confession. Everything he said was disgusting, He saw you crying and said, you should just get over it, She's old anyway. She might as well be dead, It's probably best that she's dead because she's old. What the hell? What made him think that having the dog hostage would fix the relationship? What sick freaks are out there that do this? If they are around me, keep them away from me. I really hope that we get another update in the future saying that charges were brought against him and, he did face consequences for his actions. All the best, OP. Thank you for the story. Our next post is by user ThrowAwayMoveAway129, titled, "Would I be the asshole if I move out of our apartment knowing my fiancé and his mum can't afford it without me?" Me, female 29, and my ex, fiancé, male 27, have been living together for about 1.5 years. Fiancé got his undergraduate degree, worked for a couple of years, and then decided to get an MBA, which is how he ended up in our city. We moved in together after he finished his MBA program. Fiancé is from the Midwest, and his mum has always wanted him to move back. When he told her that he was staying here, she was heartbroken. I went to college and got my degree in a STEM field. After I graduated, I got a job with my current company and moved to the city where we currently live. It's a big international company with multiple locations in the US and international. I love my job, I like the company that I work for, and the pay's pretty good. All in all, a pretty good deal. During COVID, my office shut down and we all went to work from home. After COVID, they decided to not reopen this office, so I've been 100% work from home since early 2020. I currently make considerably more than him, mainly because I've been working for 7 years and I'm in tech. I had been living by myself in a 1-bedroom apartment and just had my office set up in the living room since it was just me. When we moved in together, we decided to get a 2-bedroom apartment so I could use the extra room as an office. Because of this, I was paying 2/3 of the rent and he paid 1/3. We split everything else 50-50. So the problem started this past May. Fiance's mum told him that she wanted to move to our city to be closer to him. She asked if she could stay with us while she looked for a job and got settled. She's a teacher, so figured that she'd be able to get a teaching job pretty quickly. Because of that, I didn't really mind her staying with us, as I figured that it would just be for a couple of months over the summer. Since I thought it would only be for a couple of months, I moved my office into a corner of our bedroom, and my fiancé bought a bed to put in the second bedroom. The problem is that she never applied for any teaching positions and has been living with us for 6 months now. She and I have really been struggling with each other since she moved in. I can't make her understand that I work full-time. She constantly interrupts while I'm working, which is bad enough, but she even interrupts me when I'm on Teams calls. She always asks me to take her places because she doesn't like to drive in our city. She has pretty outdated views of gender roles and is constantly giving me a hard time for not doing more around the house and making my fiancé help with chores, do his own laundry, etc. The constant criticism and insults are really just wearing me down. And I hate having my office shoved in a corner of the bedroom. Back in September, I told my fiancé that since it looks like his mum is going to stay a while, that we should split the rent 3 ways. He told me she can't afford that since she has to conserve money until she gets a job. I told him that I wasn't happy paying extra for a bedroom that I can't use, so I finally said that we could do a 50-50 split. I could afford to pay the extra, but I hate the idea of funding her lifestyle. Every time I complain about her or the situation, he says he agrees, but doesn't know what to do because he can't kick out his mum, and he won't talk to her about the way that she treats me or how she behaves. When I ask what the long-term plan is, he just says he doesn't know. I've thought about giving him an ultimatum to tell her that she has to leave, but I think he would just end up resenting me for essentially putting his mum on the streets. So one of my girlfriends is losing her roommate at the end of February. Our lease renews June 1st. I'm very strongly considering moving out of our current apartment and moving in with her. I can afford to pay my part of rent on our current apartment and also half the rent at my friend's apartment. It's not ideal, but I'm not a big spender, so it's doable. The issue is, if he and his mum aren't able to pay for the 1/3 the rent each, then there's no way that they could cover the whole thing on their own, but I can't live like this anymore. So I'm pretty sure that this is what I'll do, but I wanted to see if people thought that I'd be the asshole for leaving them like this. In the comments, John Redcorn Massage says, his mum is the biggest asshole because she specifically planned this. It isn't that she had bad luck, she didn't even apply. Add in that she didn't respect your workplace and insults you, she's basically trying to be the matriarch of the house while being a complete mooch. The biggest problem is your fiancé though. This is just a glimpse of your future with a mama's boy. He made it clear that he is okay with her walking all over you and she is not leaving. You're going to end up as a third wheel in your own marriage. I agree. His mum's taking advantage and your fiancé isn't setting boundaries. It's a big concern for the future. You deserve better, not the asshole. Exactly this. OP, you're not leaving them, you're escaping a situation that was never fair to you in the first place. His mum didn't just end up staying. She chose not to apply for jobs, and your fiancé chose to let her. Meanwhile, you've been paying the majority of the rent, lost your office, and now you're stuck in your own home with someone who disrespects you daily. If he wanted to build a life with you, he would have had a plan for this months ago. Instead, you're the only one being asked to sacrifice. Time to choose yourself, because they already have. And be prepared for them to be upset because they are losing their money bags. They were using you and had absolutely no respect for you / neither one of them. If you don't leave, you will be the asshole. I'm a teacher, an old retired teacher. I could substitute teach every day this week if I wanted to do so. I still get requests to appoint / interview for both public school and private school jobs. Mother-in-law could work if she wanted to work. I'm in my late 60s and drive all over and in Mexico and Europe on vacation. She is needlessly helpless. Yeah, she is doing the weaponized incompetence thing, and he is allowing it to continue. I think you just get out of this. Who cares? He made a promise to you when entering a relationship with you and when choosing to start an engagement with you, and he has already broken that promise, and he's shown that his priorities lie with his mother, who he is more than happy to enable and put you down in order to continue enabling and making excuses for her. Leaving now is better than going through a divorce. It's better than having to deal with alimony, child support, therapy, any of the bullshit that comes with that mother-in-law. The mask has slipped. He's shown his ass. Take the warning for what it is and believe him when he's shown you who he is. Get out of there. Not the asshole. And now, onto the update, 5 days later. I posted here last week about the situation that I'm in, living with my soon-to-be ex-fiancé and his mum. I started off trying to reply to everyone's comments and keep up, but honestly I just got completely overwhelmed with all the comments. First off, I want to thank everyone for their feedback and comments, even the ones that were kind of harsh. Actually, probably especially the ones that were kinda harsh. I really needed some tough love to make me realize that I was letting my soon-to-be ex and his mum take advantage of me. The more comments I read, the more pissed I got. Honestly, I think I'm more pissed at myself for allowing this to happen and not advocating for myself more. This past weekend, I got my soon-to-be ex alone so we could talk, which was actually harder than I thought it should have been because his mum always tries to tag along when we do anything. Going through all the comments that everyone left and the PMs that people sent really helped me decide on how to approach this, and also brought up a lot of good questions that I should have thought of myself. Back to the discussion with the ex. I wanted to give him one more chance to pick us over his mum. Not because I thought he would, but I just wanted to be able to tell myself that I gave him the opportunity. I explained again about how unhappy I am with the situation, how it's affecting my work because of her constant interruptions, and just being unhappy and uncomfortable that I'm forced to work out of a corner in our bedroom. And I reminded him that until a few months ago, I was paying the majority of the rent, and being that I make so much more than him, it's really my salary that keeps us all afloat. And I also brought up again the way that she treats me and talks to me. And he replied the same way he has been. He agrees that it's not right how she acts, and that it's really uncomfortable for us all. What the hell? I don't care if she's uncomfortable. Previously, I would have dropped it there. But this time, I told him how angry and disappointed I was that he let me pay 2/3 of the rent when she first moved in, and how unfair it was that I'm still paying for half when there are 3 people living here and she's the only one with her own bedroom. It was the same story. She has to conserve money since she doesn't have any income currently. Which brought up the question of where all her stuff went when she moved. What money does she use for incidentals? So evidently, when she got divorced, she asked for the divorce after my ex went off to college. It doesn't sound like the husband or ex's dad wanted the divorce. His dad bought her out of the equity in their house. Ex didn't have any idea how much that was or how much is left. But until she moved here, she was working full-time as a teacher and living in a small apartment, so she shouldn't have had to tap into the divorce settlement money very much. Other than that, X didn't have much insight into her finances, other than what she'd told him. that she has to conserve money. I told him straight up that I'm moving out before the end of the month, and from now on, I'm only paying 25%. As some of the commenters pointed out, she has a whole bedroom while I have to share with a man-child, so she should have to pay twice as much, and after I move out, I'm not paying for anything else. No utilities, no food, nothing other than rent. I have a pretty good idea what his finances are like, and if he has to pay 75% of the rent all by himself, it's going to take a huge chunk of his net income. And after he pays utilities and buys groceries, there won't be anything left for incidentals. Rent was due on the 1st, but it's not late until after the 5th, so he has 2 days to come up with the money. If he doesn't come up with it, and I end up covering it, then I'll reduce the amount that I pay in the future months. The only reason that I'm going to keep paying any of the rent is even after I move out, I'm still on the hook. I talked to the leasing office, and they explained that since X and I signed a single rental agreement together, e.g., one contract we both signed as opposed to 2 contracts we sign individually, we are both responsible for the rent. They don't care about who actually pays as long as it gets paid. The only alternative would be if he agrees to sign a new lease by himself or together with his mum. But in all likelihood, he wouldn't be able to pass the credit check on his own, so I'm kind of stuck. I don't think he'll do anything stupid though, because he's going to need to find someplace to live after this, and a collection on his credit report wouldn't be good. I also told him that I'm going to find someplace to work during the day until I move so that she can't bother me. My friend I'm moving in with said that I could work there during the day since she and her current roommate have in-person 9-to-5s. I took her up on that for now. After living with his mum, I'm not about to overstay my welcome, so I'm gonna go find some other options so that I can rotate through. Someone suggested checking out the public library, or if it comes to it, I'll get a membership at one of those WeWork kind of places. And, just in case, I brought my important papers, files, and valuables, and my friend is storing them for me until I move in. He really didn't take it well. The surprising thing to me is that he was surprised by everything. He seemed really shocked that I wasn't prioritizing his mum. I really got the feeling that he sincerely believed that I wanted to take care of her as much as him, and he kept saying stuff like, "What about my mum? What am I gonna tell her? That's how she is, but we, still need to help her," etc. He asked about our relationship and the engagement. I told him after I move out, I need some space from him. In a few months, when we've both had some time and space to process what happened, if we both agree, we can talk about the relationship. But he'd have to prove that he's going to have my back going forward and will set boundaries with his mum. I told him that just to avoid more drama, but I don't see a future in which we are together. I told him he needs to tell his mum because she's not my responsibility or problem, and she'll know something's up when I start moving my stuff out. He hasn't told her what's going on yet, but this weekend I'm going to start moving things so that he doesn't have much time. My friend's current roommate starts a new job in another state on the 3rd, so in reality, I can probably move in 2 to 3 weeks, just depending on when she actually leaves. I don't expect him to do anything bad, other than sulk and complain, but if he does something stupid or doesn't pay his part of the rent, the ace up my sleeve is I'll tell the leasing office his mum moved in, which is prohibited in the lease. Honestly, getting evicted would solve a lot of problems right now, so it's a pretty valid threat, I think. Now that I've mentally and emotionally separated myself from him and his mum, I'm looking forward to her reaction when he tells her what's going on. If it gets too ugly, I'll find a cheap Airbnb or hotel or something. I've had some friends, including the one that I'm moving in with, offer to let me couch surf for a few weeks, but I just can't do that to someone else. So that's it. I'm leaving, and I really don't care how that affects them. In the comments, Plant Princes says, "You're at the end of a long and painful process, but I'm sure that you'll be better for it. Good luck." Dude should really just marry his mum. Smiley Cat says, "Notify your landlord in writing that you are moving out and to take you off the lease after June 1st. You wouldn't want to do nothing and accidentally trigger an automatic renewal." And OP says, Already did that. I did it before I went to talk to the front office and confirmed that they received it while I was down there. Teflon says, "Ooh, I want to see the mum's face turn from delight that OP's gone to horror when she realized how much she was funding. Then when the ex sees mum suddenly able to find a job, now she's got rid of OP." Ex's mum is big on traditional gender roles, but not so much that she would say no to OP bankrolling her and her son. OP should double-check the lease. Maybe it says no one besides the leaseholders can reside there. Maybe they'll all be kicked out for breaking the rules. Oh no! It sounds like OP has the money, so she should also check the cost to straight up break the lease. After her stuff is out, of course. I wouldn't be the slightest bit surprised if the ex was telling Mummy that he was making all the money and that OP just worked her silly little job for fun. Lol, why are they always shocked not everyone is a helpless little doormat like they are? But this one be like, what? You no love my mummy? My mummy not your number one? How can my mummy be a disrespectful mooch indefinitely without you? Like, dude. Yeah, and she doesn't say how old the mum is, but he's 27, and she had him within the typical 20s, early 30s range, so she's like 50 to 60-ish. Why does she think no longer working in your 50s is the only option, and why is he assuming he should already be her retirement option while she's still somewhat young old people-wise? She done wanna. That's why. My mum did the same, except she never had a career. Just got fired or laid off or quit her dookie-ass job, and everything was supposed to work out by magic. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.